Okay, the tires are mounted. Now it's time to get these wheels back on the Tiger. First thing I did is I put the push drive back in. This is the rubber part. You want to make sure that it's in correctly, because there are two ways you can put it in. You have to make sure that it's in a way that allows the hub, these parts right here, to fit in. If you go the other way, you'll notice it won't let the sprocket hub get in there. So they straddle the little ribs. Now this, if you remember, got this spacer here. We have to make sure it stays in. It'll fall out just like that. So bearings look good. They feel good, both sides. Just going to put my finger on that. I'm just going to place it. Get it ready there. So that's even that it fell in. So I'm going to pull it up. Grab it with my finger and pull it up while I press the sprocket in. So it's a tight fit. And I put all my weight into it to make sure that it sits. Otherwise you're going to have trouble getting it between the swing arm. Okay, so now we've got some spacers. So this is the spacer for this side. You see how loose that is? Now whether it's supposed to be that way, I don't know. 26,000 miles on the bike. This could be wearing down a bit. So again, it's another thing we have to keep track of. Now the other side has this spacer here. See that? This one fits in snugger, more snug, whatever the word is, the proper way to say it. All right, so now the next thing is these Mitas tires, they're wider than the other Mitas I took off. So I'm gonna have to just, it's a little bit more finessing to thread it in between the rotor, but that's all I need to do. Okay, so got to get the rotor in between the brake pads. Now I had some trouble last time I put a wheel on that this caliper slides on this little part right here. So you can see that. You got to make sure it's pushed all the way, otherwise it'll interfere with this part here. Again, it's the caliper, push it all the way in, as far as it'll go. You can use a screwdriver to open up the pads. Just be gentle. Just twist it a little bit just to open them a bit. Now I've got this spacer down here that's got to feed in. You can see now it slides right in. That one's in. The spacer on the left is in. Look at that. So now we have to raise it and get the axle slid through. Again, I'm not forcing, I'm just tapping. Get it lined up. Okay, let's see how it needs to come. Alright. Now I've got the adjuster bolt. It rests right on the front right here. And then this is shaped so that you just line it up. On this side, put our adjuster on. You can see where the washer was. I'll just keep it this way it was. You can see the adjuster here. So I may need to pull back a little harder to get that on. That looks fine. Washer. Nut. This is kind of a self-locking nut where there's no cotter pin or anything. Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Anytime you're threading something and it feels like it's going to cross-thread, you go lefty-loosey and then it'll drop into the thread and you'll feel it. And then once that happens, then you should be threaded. This thread's beginning. It's like right here. I just felt it right there. You even heard it. Cross-threading. Sucks. Okay. Now I'm ready to snug this down. Got my socket here. I'll have my wrench. So what we do is you put a screwdriver or something else in between the sprocket and the chain, and you just sort of bring it back. Don't force it, and then that pushes the axle on the wheel forward, and then you can tighten it up. Check it. Righty-tighty. So just get it nice and snug. Again, make sure that's in there. Now I will torque it. Okay, so we're snugged up. Now I'm going to use my torque wrench. This one here is the wand type, not as accurate, but it's good for higher torque values. This is set for 110. That's Newton meters, so be careful about that. Make sure you're not doing foot-pounds when you really need to be doing Newton meters. So, just going to look at it, watch it. You want to hold the torque wrench right here by the handle. It's got this, the way it is, that's how it's measuring the torque. Okay, 110 foot-pounds is about 80. Newton meters is about 80 foot-pounds, and that's about it. Okay, that looks good. One thing that's really important after you take wheels off is to pump up your brakes, because those brake pads will open up, especially if you do it with a screwdriver like I did. Okay, that's the rear tire. Let's go ahead and do the front. So what we're going to do, put the spacers in, both sides. Get it as lined up as you can. Sometimes the forks will rotate a little bit, so just make sure they're as lined up as they can. Just take some fiddling. Okay, so now I'm just going to feed the axle through. Okay, so let's get the calipers on. And I just slide it on. Okay, let's do the other side. Okay, so the other caliper is on. I'm waiting to be torqued. We've got the ABS sensor we need to put back on. Now this is a Torx. This slides right in that little hole. There's a hole, threaded hole for the bolt to go in. Alright, let's torque up these brake calipers. So this is my other torque wrench. That's a clicker. So it's got numbers all up here. This is foot-pounds on this side and Newton meters over here. What did I say? 28. You just line up the top edge of the plastic part with the number that's etched in. That's not much. It's usually like 20, or is it 15, 20 foot-pounds. Right, I'm going to go right there. So that's 28. The way this one works. It's not a lot like the other wand one, but this one, again, hold on down at the end, and you see it just clicked. And when it gives like that, that means you're all set. There. 65 Newton meters. That's it. The last thing we have to do is the pinch bolts. And I'm just going to snug it up. And you want to do with the pinch bolts, you see how one got tight, the other one got really loose. Because you want to alternate. Because otherwise one's going to do all the work. And when you tighten one, the other one loosens. So that's why you go back and forth. Okay, when you're done with your torque wrench, when you've got the clicker like this is put it all the way out. The spring inside is just alleviate the pressure on it, and it'll keep its calibration longer. Okay. So guess what? That's it. Except remember, we took the brakes off. You always want to pump those brakes. See, they go all the way back. There's nothing. All right, now we're good. These are the Mitas E07 Plus. I will be doing a review of those and comparing them to the old model. Those things look pretty badass. Yeah. All right. Hope that was helpful. Riding in the Zone, Ken Condon.